Coach, I have to tell you, this has been a very, very busy and informative day. What about you?
I'm about the same. The only thing that's been crazy for me is the weather. At
Oh,
least,
no.
yeah, I'm getting some good water. I had to cut my faucet off. I tell everybody, they get mad when it rains. I don't. I consider it an opportunity for nature to let my grass grow.
Yeah, and for me, that's more pop-up dandelions and crabgrass, which means I got to go out there and kill some of it, you know?
Hey,
And I
I'm about to give you that Coach Tony secret to keep that down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I know this is around the time where the crabgrass and the lilies pop up in the lawn, and I pride myself self on having green lawn. The only green weed that I want to see is green grass, not
Right.
crabgrass, not
Exactly.
dandelions, not lilies,
It's
grass.
you have to do the pre-work Val in the winter. You feel me?
Ah,
You got to be able to coordinate. You know, you got to come out right when Chicago's winter. Let's say it's gonna start snowing, and let's say for example late October, early November. So you start dropping a couple of seeds. Then after they clear up, but it's gonna clear up for a minute when it starts raining a little bit in April. So you throw them back down again in March, April. And then by the time June, July, Chicago, when the weather clears up and you finally get some good weather, you're good to go.
okay, well then that's what I'm gonna have to do. And then that's what's gonna have to happen. So my goodness, it's another edition of Interludes Extra Talk on Tuesdays, and we're gonna get going with it. I see the conversation has started in the chat already. Oh my goodness. Well, let's catch up. And we're about to go right about now. It's another edition of Interludes Extra Presents Talk on Tuesdays. We are so grateful that you guys are joining us on today. My goodness, my goodness. And of course, we want to have a special thank you to everyone that has purchased the book, the ebook called A DJ Saved My Life. I see you guys are not seeing nothing, so let me make sure that I go ahead and do this.
Put
So
that
go to
QR code up there. Exactly.
exactly. PureLighthouseMedia.net is the official e-commerce website. Thank you, Daniel Nelson, for the assistance with that. And of course, if you'd like to go ahead and purchase the book, do you know that helps us as a podcast here? All sales and everything are going right back into the business. So we thank you guys. And I know you all have asked, are you coming up with a, a hardcover of the book? Yes. And with self-publishing, things happen in steps 1, 2, 3. So your ebook support definitely helps. And of course, Delano A. Johnson designed the cover. So I'm going to be saying that over and over again till I'm blue in the face. So that's what's up. And of course, Patreon, the Interludes Extra presents Find Your Voice. We've got more and more content that's coming behind the scenes. Join us on patreon.com/interludes. And of course, Coach Tony, where we're so happy that you are joining us on tonight. But of course, I'd love for you to tell us about what was happening on last night. What we wrapped your first season of your first thing, yes,
You know,
of the Pull Up Podcast, which premiered in January of this year. I am so proud of you. Tell me, who was on the place on yesterday?
first of all, before we even jump into it, let's send a couple shout outs. I got my man Wise, my Wise. What's up, baby? I see you out here. Kay Springer, what's going on? You know we always love you, baby. My girl Keisha in the house of Queen. And Mark, two things for you. One, Chucky was off the rack last night. It was a great interview. And I'm going to go over it right now with you. And tell the young lady you got for my NIL. I appreciate you, Mark. Thank you very much. You got my direct number, so have her reach out to me. We can talk a little bit. I'm usually up until midnight because I watch Sports Center. So if you need to know, you need to get in touch with me. I'm up to midnight watching Sports Center, Val. And Val can tell you, I'm usually up late. But one more thing real quick. For those that are watching tonight on the Pull Up Podcast Show, which is your Monday night show, and we're going quarter by quarter of sports information, we are going to have a fan appreciation night. And I want to thank each and every one of you who've helped to make my first season an absolute success off the hook. We're going to do it. We got the TBA on the date, and Val's going to give you that. We're going to invite a handful of fans, both male and female. We want a balanced audience, and we're going to talk about everything sport. We're going to have some fun, throw around some things that night, and just have a good time. So if you want to be on this show live, this is your opportunity. Please make sure you reach out to me or Val so we can get some information from you and go from there.
Yeah. So what's going to be happening with that is if you've been actively watching the show, and we've done 22 episodes live, we are so excited about that. So in August is when we'll have our fan appreciation show. So if you would like to come on and talk and chop up with sports with Coach Tony, please go ahead and do that. Let us know. You can send us a message via Facebook or LinkedIn and message the word fan appreciation. When you when you text those words fan appreciation, we'll know to have you and consider you for the fan appreciation. Now, do you want them to do a survey or answer some questions? Some like
what I would like,
what you like?
Yeah, what I would like to know for those, and this just lets me know who's watching the show, is that two things here. One, let me know within your response when you send that information in to us via LinkedIn or text. Let me know your favorite show of the year and why. And then let me know what you think about the show itself and how we can, get even better as the years to come. And then we're going to go and put that in a pool between Val, myself, and Kevin, and we're going to look over that. And we're going to choose the best five or six. Actually, my favorite number 7. Pledge number 7 online. Number 7 is my birthday in July. So we're going to take the top 7 people with me. We're going to roll.
Wonderful, wonderful. And your last live until we go to your second season on the Pull Up Podcast, you had NBA great and coach Clarence. Well, he's known as Chucky Brown. I don't know how many how many teams he was on, but he was a great guest on last night. And so what was the fun thing that happened with you guys?
Man, first of all, I keep telling you I'm about to bring out either a record or a book, but I have my mans in them on with me last night. You know what I'm saying? CB, my man's in there. And it was a phenomenal conversation, Val. We got a chance to dig into career and to answer your question. This gentleman, besides probably Jamal Crawford, owns the record for having played with the most NBA teams in a career. 13 years of the career, 12 different NBA teams, including the first 2 coming out with Cleveland Cavaliers. Originally from the North Carolina area, went to North Carolina State, and man, we had a good time. But the best part about the whole entire interview, Val, was Coach Brown gave us a little over an hour of his time driving home.
I know. And that's the reason why I wanted to call that out. Like the dedication that our guest had. He was coming from a
AAU tournament, watching his daughter play up in Louisville, Kentucky, like myself. I was coming off the road from an AAU tournament from Atlanta. So I get it, and I understand that road trip and watching these kids and trying to recruit at this time of the year. And it was just phenomenal. But the great part about it too, Val, I know that trip. You remember last week I was getting to the show and I'm just getting home from Myrtle Beach. And that was a 9-hour trip. So, at some part of that trip, to have someone to talk to, man, that's awesome. And I was really proud that he was super alert and the show was absolutely great.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, that is phenomenal. That is phenomenal. Like I said, this was a really good show with Coach Tony, and of course, you're going to be going on hiatus, but come and check us out. I see in the chat already. Mark says I will be on the show. Put me on that show. He's down with it, of course. I wanted to make sure that I said hello to Queen Lakeisha. Hey
That's my
there,
girl. What up, Keisha, baby?
of course. And then I see Bella. She says, "Let's go, Val the Voice Johnson," but sending love to you as well, Coach. And of course, this is what I see. And also, I see King Wise is in the building. He said, "What's happening at Val the Voice and Coach Tony?" But in the chat, Mark is talking about, hey, he wants to talk about the Brewers and how Tyler and Oscar are doing well. And as fantasy players, I should draft. I don't do fantasy football or basketball. How do you feel about that?
I like Tyler and Mark. That's a good choice. I like them. They're going to be doing very well on the points. I don't do the fantasy football, Val, for the simple fact of the matter, it's too many freaking players for me. I'm a basketball guy all day, every day, but to have to put a DB in, a quarterback, a running back, a receiver, some guy got hurt. This dude fell out of the car last week. I ain't got time to keep up all that. But
That's a lot.
basketball is my niche, obviously, with me being a coach. So watching and doing fantasy basketball, you got 5 players, you got position players. Each week, I can take one guy out of my lineup. Each week, if someone gets hurt, I can move someone in, and I can operate with that. And based on looking at, as you start getting Val about maybe like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 games in, you kind of have an idea of what the player's going to do that year. Like our best people, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, right?
Mm-hmm.
We kind of have an idea the Angel's going to give us a double-double. We have an idea that Caitlin Clark's going to give us a double-double almost in points and assists. So we kind of can figure that piece out. So I love the fantasy basketball.
Okay, well then that's a really really good thing to do, and I'm telling you, it is what it is. What I really wanted to do and make sure that I shouted this out. I did this on last week, but I wanted to do this while you were here. I think yes, Coach was away, but he was celebrating his son. He turned 21 last week. Tell us
And my
about
daughter,
that.
and I sent you my daughter's picture. She just turned 29 this week. So
Woo!
it was, I have got a very unique situation that my daughter and my son and myself are all born on the exact same day of the week in the month of July. And we're born 5 minutes apart. And it's so cool because we have a huge month of July. We got the 4th of July celebration. And then my son's birthday is the July the 9th. My daughter's July 16th. And then I'm July 30th. So my birthday is coming up next week. I expect some big gifts, you know what I'm saying, from all my mans and them. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh. So definitely a lot of love, a lot of July birthday love in the building. And of course, this is what Mark says, fellow July birthday people. I know there was a reason why I liked you, Tony. So Mark must have a birthday in
You already know. And I see Keisha talking about 313. That's what I want to be, 313. That's what, that's Eminem, baby,
And of course, from last week, I did kind of a breakdown of what happened at the Power Networking Experience and Expo Conference. Those wonderful folks that you see in the picture, the Dead Center, is my writing mentor and her husband, Delano A. Johnson. So that DJ says saved my life. That cover, Tony, the gentleman in the Dead Center, that's Delano. He designed that, dude.
Oh, okay. Well, you just make sure that when we get a chance to sit down and start putting together my mans and them, I'm going to need it.
Of course, my guys. Look, Cress, Janita. So you see Monique and Delano, and of course Mitos. Who else is that? That's Joy and Tina, and then Lakeisha. So that means Wise took the picture. Wise should have been in the picture, but I think
Wise, okay. My girl Keisha there, Wise, okay. Y'all looking real nice in there too. You only missing one thing. You're missing
what?
me.
Oh, there you go. Well, we've been given the charge from Dr. George C. Fraser and also Delano in this next picture. This is Percy Miller, but everyone else knows him as Master P. So learn, earn, and return. Delano says, with 5 more people.
Yes, as a matter of fact, Val, that is nice because you know something. That's amazing because I got an opportunity to check out with Master P as he came to Nashville about a year and a half ago on that, and I think it's phenomenal because you know he talks about all of his ventures that he's been in outside of the rap game, you know, with his food and grocery stores, and the young brother. Even though, you know, you'd be amazed. You see these people on TV, you think they're big, and you don't really realize they got problems just like the normal family. And, you know, and then they got, of course, their family got exploited once they started doing the TV show. But I really like what Master P is doing. And that's a great situation. You had an opportunity to go there.
Yeah, and get a chance to talk. Now, he monetizes everything, Coach.
Yeah.
And so what he ended up doing that if you want to take a picture with him and get his book, he charged you. Hey, so I was like,
you know me, I'm like, I can't do the 5.
you gotta add 95 more to it, and that's how much he was charging.
And that's why I'll be across the room like this. Bam. And then you do the close up, and then you put him in the picture.
Exactly. Well, like I said, he broke it down, and I've on the morning shows that I do in the morning, we have been actually breaking down and actually pulling some clips from what we learned and some of the things, what was on our business tips and tricks morning show with the House of Creativity. I got a chance. Wise recorded us doing our pitches. And I thank you so much, King Wise, for definitely making sure that you recorded us. But myself, Queen Lakeisha, Patty, and Wise, we all pitched our podcast as well as our platforms. And that was phenomenal. And we were given 30 seconds to a minute to get it all out and then pass that hot mic over. But it was good seeing Percy Miller there, aka Master P. And like I said, he sat down with the people, signed a bunch of books, and he was out.
Right. Make them say, no. Hey, exactly. and I like that, Val, because you got to learn how to do that 30-second elevator pitch anyway. So that's always great because you never, ever know who you're going to bump into and what situation. Kind of like the situation I told you when I met on the road. I met the entertainer guy from Canada. 30 seconds later, and I was connected. Next day when I got home, he was on the podcast. So you kind of have a quick window to do that. And by the way, Mark, I didn't forget you, baby. Happy birthday to you. I know you're a Cancer. Hopefully you don't be crying like my son and my daughter. But anyway, and Miss April, how you doing, girl? Hopefully you're feeling good. Everything. I miss having you on the show. You got to jump back on the Pull Up Podcast show. I miss you over there.
And speaking of the Pull Up Podcast show, we are going to be talking Olympics and, of course, the 2 documentaries or docuseries, Sprint, as well as Simone Biles Rising, right after this. We'll see you in a second.
Hey, it's your main man, right back at you, coming live here from the Rise Studios. And it's your guy talking about what? Pull Up Podcast Show. What is the Pull Up Podcast Show? It's a brand new podcast hitting your airways nationwide, talking everything on sports, from baseball, basketball, hockey, and then I tell you, we're going to have a lot of fun. So make sure, if you want your questions answered, you want to have fun talking a lot of sports, make sure you pull up on me, because it's the Pull Up Podcast Show.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up.
Also, for those that want to learn a little bit more about this right here, oh yeah, that right there, that's the Rise, NIL, talking name, image, and likeness. Those having opportunities, getting paid, you want to tune in to it.
Sports show, let's go. It's the Pull Up Podcast. So it's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, oh.
Woo-hoo.
Hey, so let's knock out one thing before we even get started, Val. Mark,
Mhm.
I love you, my brother. Me and Val always took the oath that we don't talk politics on here. We entertaining and sports. But I will tell you that for my girl, Ski Wee in the house, 2 hands up on that.
Yeah. Oh, I see there's a question in the chat, and this is coming from our own moderator, Kevin Springer. Val the voice. Oh, no, not that one. What did I see? Oh, this was Mark.
Yeah.
What do you think of Kamala running for president?
Love it.
Hey, this is how I feel. This is what's going to be happening. And I say, if I wasn't praying before, I'm starting to pray a little bit more today.
And
But
all I'm saying is,
huh?
all I'm saying is, get to the booth. If you don't get to the booth, don't answer that question. You know what I'm saying? Get to the booth. Get to that booth November 5th, and then we can talk about that November 6th.
Exactly. So people said they weren't ready for Hillary, but prayerfully they'll be ready for another.
Yeah, because she already got a song, Ski Wee.
I'm not an AKA. She ain't gonna win me on that. I'm not an AKA.
I ain't say that. That's a rap song, Val. See, I got you on that. Ski Wee. That's that Section Red. You better come up on that rap game, Val.
Lord have mercy. Okay. The 2 docu-series that we're going to be reviewing just ahead of the 2024 Olympics that's going to be starting in Paris, France on this coming Friday. The opening ceremonies is this coming Friday. If you want to check it out, of course, that's the NBC networks or additional streaming on the Peacock stations. But Netflix released Simone Biles Rising and Sprint. Now this I think Sprint came out first, July 2nd, I believe, and then Simone, her docu-series came out on the 17th. Coach, did you get a chance to see either of these? We're going to start with Simone, but did you get a chance to see either of these?
First of all, I want to say, Val, parlez-vous français, mademoiselle.
We gonna do French? Here we go.
We gonna kick it in there. We gonna do what we do. But
okay. Here we go. Je m'appelle Mademoiselle Johnson. Comment allez-vous?
Oh, oui. Hey, y'all better keep listening to us. Y'all, what? Man, listen.
Okay, that's the extent of my French.
I got an opportunity to see them, and I was kind of glad that I watched Sprint last because the Simone Biles really moved me. Her story on everything that happened. I didn't realize that the young lady that went through so much. I know that L&M had made a movie about her. You remember early on in her career and everything that was going on. But the young lady is the oldest Olympian right now to compete in gymnastics for us, and that's phenomenal. But what moved me in this entire documentary, Val, is that I didn't know she came up in the hood like she did. Mom being a drug addict, didn't want the kids. She has 2 sisters and a brother, and they were split up. And her and her sister went with her dad. Then the other sister and brother went with the grandparents and all that. And sometimes they didn't even know where they were going to get food sometime. And it was just amazing.
Yeah, and just the journey of her. Now, I couldn't find the photos, but I got a chance to meet Simone, I think back in 2019. 2019 when she was at where I used to work, the non-for-profit organization in Lower Manhattan, and she was there there was pictures there with her and the president of the non-for-profit, and then of course some other famous folks. She's not that big, she's tiny, but just a really bright and present personality. And of course, I didn't realize her first Olympic appearance was 2016. And that was her very first appearance. And then, of course, the 2020, and that's her appearing first. And she said who took her under her wing, I believe, was Allie. She's here all the way on the other end.
Yep.
She took her under her wing and kind of just kind of trained her and let her know, like, I got your back. And I was like, that's really cool. Like when you are away from your family and you're traveling. I'm trying to remember, where was the 2016 Olympics? I should know this.
2016 Olympics was in Seoul, Korea, I think, was it?
Okay, I'm gonna triple check that. But you're away from your family. However, your family, your immediate family, is allowed to travel with you to these games,
Especially
and of
for
course,
especially for the underage athletes.
especially for the underage athletes. And I believe Simone at the time was about
Yes.
15 or 16 here, and when she first competed. And so I'm trying to think of the other young lady's name. I know her first name is Allie. Yeah, there we go. Allie Raisman. Allie Raisman.
Yep.
She was the one. And I'm sorry. And the 2016 Olympics was in Rio,
Okay.
Brazil.
Okay.
And so Rio de Janeiro. So they were there and competed. And of course, they were kind of given that I think they got about 4 gold medals and a bronze.
Mhm.
And it was, and then she did very good on the floor exercises, but it was kind of
She
that
was that great.
transition. Yeah, Allie was on her way out and Simone was kind of on her way in. So I just didn't realize how many struggles the girls go through. But this was normal in 2016, the normal Olympics, where no one had mask on, or no other goofy things were happening
Right.
like
Yeah. This
that.
is right before the pandemic. And what got me on that too, Val, is that you got to,
Mhm.
if you open up your eyes to the world of sports during that time, Osaka, who was just coming up on the tennis side of the house and struggled, and then
Mhm.
she had her problems. So, it was kind of like that weird time, and then we hit pandemic. But to see her, Simone, compete the way she did at that time, and going over the obstacles. And you got to remember, Val, at the same time, these young women are just coming off of a monster of a pedophile and the Michigan State's training athletic doctor who was raping the young girls in front of the faces of millions of people. And she still had to compete, even dealing with that.
So the gentleman that you're talking about is Larry Nasser. He was
Yeah.
accused of
And convicted.
sexually assaulting up to 265 victims.
Insane.
This happened. People thought that the Olympic trainers, or the people around the Olympics, and I'm talking about the USA Gymnastic Olympic.
Yes.
They thought money and medals was more important than health. And Nasser
People
was
lie.
sentenced to 40 to 175 years in prison.
Yeah.
And so this was something when Simone said she thought that what was happening was normal.
Correct. Most of the girls said that. I mean, you got to look at it, Val. She's a
Mhm.
young girl, underage at that time. She's probably just now getting into her puberty and just now really hitting to the doctor's office and her monthly checks and everything else. And all of a sudden, you have a trainer. And I understand this being a coach, and I understand this being on the sideline, and I understand this being right now going into my 14th year, 15th season this year with women's basketball, and understanding you have a completely different makeup of an athlete instead of
Mhm.
like the boys. And you have to be very careful. You're stretching them and how you have them sit down and do certain things and all that. So, myself, the coaches, that's why if I'm stretching my athletes, I'm doing it on the floor, in the game, right on the floor, right out before the game start. Never do it in the locker room. But to have her and these young women go through what they did, and then they got to departmentalize what's going on and get on the floor to compete. Now, it was interesting in this show. Someone asked one of the young girls when she was competing with Simone, was it difficult training competing or the Olympics. And she said training and competing to get to the Olympics was actually harder than going and competing in the Olympics, because when you're training and competing, you risk everyone in the US who are just like you trying to make that Olympic team. But once you get to the Olympics, you guys are all together. It's a team beating everybody else. I thought that was pretty
Right.
cool.
Right. And she started dating her now husband, who has been a real wonderful support to her, Jonathan Owens.
Green
At
Bay
the
Packers.
time,
Woo.
at the time, he was playing for the Green Bay Packers.
Green Bay
I think
Packers, yeah.
now he's a football safety for the Chicago Bears now.
And that's why I say, yay, boo with the Packers. Yay, they came to the Bears, so we good.
We're focusing in on him being a spouse, not being a Packer or a Bear. You are hilarious with that. But I kind of like seeing that. But like I said, her and Allie formed a really great bond over
Yes.
the time being there. And like I said, she was traveling. I think they got married in August of 2023, but
Mhm.
Tokyo was rough. Tokyo was
Yeah.
rough. And one of the reasons why it was rough was because no one was allowed except for the trainers and the coaches to come. And she said that she kept getting in her head, and anytime she would do, any of those flips, something was off.
Yeah.
And she's the one that said, I need to stop. And to me, that was very remarkable. At the time, I thought it was, but then in the documentary, you see where they show a whole bunch of tweets saying
Right.
that she's a quitter and all the rest of the stuff. This is reason why you need to stay off social media, especially if you're competing at that Olympic level. It was nuts. So she stayed on to support her teammates. But her mom, who has attended every Olympic tryout or any world champions, her parents, no one was allowed to be there with her. They had to cheer her on through television.
Yep. Let me tell you something, Val. As an athlete, and me being there on that court, went through an ACL surgery. Talking a couple of weeks ago to Chris Johnson, right? Tennessee Titan, talked about the mistake he made, and upending his career short from the same knee surgery. And, you can go and play for the people watching the TV all day long, but all you're doing is making them happy whether you win or lose. And to see this young lady, and as you say, the difference between all the other sports we're looking at is this young lady, the power that she puts into her moves. Imagine if she's off by a half a second or a second and falls down on her neck or her back and really injures herself. And all those naysayers that will call her quitters and everything else are then saying what? Oh, you should have known. You shouldn't have done it. You should have taken the time away. Then they changed their tune. So I'm glad that she looked at her mental mindset and said, you know something? What I do is you have to be precise. And if you're not precise, it could damage you not only for the time being, but possibly for a career. So she walks away from that. And then she says, I've got unfinished business. And then stay like, what is that? I'm going back to the Olympics. I'm going to compete. I'm going to pick up where I left off at and watch what I do. And boom. She's doing just
Exactly.
that.
Exactly. And so she has been training. And what I was learning both docuseries, Sprint, as well as the Simone Biles Rising, is that there are those qualifier sports things that happen. It's the world championships. It's like something that's a precursor to the world championships, and then the world championships is a precursor to the Olympics.
Yeah.
How does that work again, Coach, if you don't mind explaining?
Yeah, so what you're looking at is the precursor is going to be when you have go out, and these athletes all go out, which you've seen a few months ago. There's on TV from the SEC, the Big Ten, and Pac-12, and all these. And these athletes compete against each other in these quarterfinals. And you're dealing with out at the USA, or the United States Olympic Arena, which the majority of that is in Colorado. And for the gymnastics, it bounces around. But then they compete amongst one another in what they call the local, national, and regional. So you got to compete regional and make it out to region. Then you compete in your local side, make it out of that. But once you get to the national stage, then all these athletes are on one stage for one night. And then the United States, based on the numbers, then they pick it from there. So you could be an actual person that's been killing everybody all year long and have that one bad night and not make the team.
Yeah, and like I said, that's she's been seen. Now, this was a picture that was recently taken. I've noticed that the docu-series is now, it's like they're building up to the 2024 Olympics, which starts in Paris in literally this coming Friday. So I knew
with Snoop Dogg.
so I knew this was going to be a big deal, but we're going to be cheering her on. And I have to say, the Winter Olympics I'm looking at, and I'm cheering the ice skaters, and I'm looking at, I think, a couple of skiing events. But the sports that I love for the summer is gymnastics and track and field. Those are the things I'm checking out.
Track and field, that's my second sport outside of playing ball. Running track back in the day. I love me some track and field. But I'm telling you right now, for promotional purposes only, put your dollars. You can probably bet your house if you want, but I ain't gonna tell you that. But put your money on the USA gymnastics. They will walk away with more gold medals in gymnastics than anybody.
Yeah, and they have been kind of reigning in that lane, and so that is kind of what I see. And if you guys have watched the Olympics, or you have seen some of the things, if you've watched the documentary, Simone Biles Rising, that is only streaming on Netflix. They have 2 episodes that's up right now, but there's another 2 that's coming. So they'll be, releasing them slowly over the next couple of weeks. But there's 2 episodes. I got a chance to watch both of them. And so, like I said, I learned a lot about, number one, her journey as a Olympian, and then kind of that protecting her peace and making sure that she checks in. It's a wellness check-in on herself. And that is so important. Like, am I feeling okay? No, I'm not. Let me stop. And that was so responsible of her. I think that was phenomenal. And anyone that criticized her for being a quitter, whichever this was in 2020, go jump off a lake. Jump in a I don't know.
If he was on a Pull-Up podcast show, I could tell you. But but what you just said, Val, you got to realize that. And I'll tell you one thing before we go to track. These athletes are to compete. They're not getting paid to go to these Olympics. And just like Springer just said, my man Snoop Dogg and them, Snoop's getting an opportunity to carry that torch on his final leg to light that fire, that flame, to get it started. And if you are an athlete, you are thinking in your head, I am going to compete for my country, right? The day, or go back when they were going through the qualifying events, you can probably put a question out in the audience. How many people tonight is watching or listening? How many people physically tuned in to when they were going to doing their qualifying events for the USA to find out who's going to make that team? Probably a handful of people. But if you ask the same question, how many people are going to watch them in the Olympics? Probably everybody. So the pressure is completely different. So when they understand that, you can't go into those games half-assing around. Hey, I've got to be on my game. So if I got a tweak of an ankle, a tweak of my wrist, anything else, perfect example, Kevin Durant. Everybody's talking, he was a waste, and he shouldn't have went for men's basketball for Team USA and blah, 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 blah. What Steve Kerr say? I'm not cutting him, because at any given time, we understand that Durant is an NBA professional. The Olympics
Right.
only come around once every 4 years.
4
So I'm not
years.
going to destroy his career trying to chase a gold medal when I know that we got 13 or 14 other guys on this team that can get the job done. And if he's have an opportunity to play, we will. And that's what people have to understand when you're competing at that level. And then the other piece is you got people like myself and other guys that have deals, that's got marketing deals with these athletes. And I'm not going to put my athlete out there if I know that the opportunity to do a marketing deal is not going to benefit me. That's how these guys are thinking.
Exactly. And since we mentioned that, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much on that. I'd say, Mr. Springer, thank you so much for mentioning that. Let me see if I can grab it up here. Yeah, so Snoop is going to be.
Now, wow, yippee yo, yippee yay.
I have no idea what's happening with that.
I know. Hey, he was on there, and I just wanted to say a couple of things like, "Hey, welcome to the Olympics for shizzle, my jizzle."
That's gonna be so funny. He's gonna be
And then,
carrying the torch.
you know, and then Val, he gotta do a breakaway to Martha Stewart just to make it right. Right? You know what I'm saying? Martha Stewart, she ain't even white no more. Martha Stewart's a sister now. You know what I'm saying? She been stamped.
And then also, Mr. Springer let us know that LeBron James is going to be serving as Team USA's male flag bearer for
Yes,
Paris
that's
Olympics
awesome.
opening ceremony.
That's awesome. Jordan to Kobe to LeBron. Love it.
Okay, all of that is making sense. Now let's get on to the second docu series that we want to talk about is Sprint. Now I have to say, I didn't. What was that?
Ooh, I'm like, ooh, I love them track and field, especially with women. Ooh.
There's so I couldn't stop taking notes when doing the research on this, and of course, give us a little background on this young lady that we're looking at, Sha'Carri Richardson.
Man, first of all, I love Carrie Richardson. You know, that is by far my favorite. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge, and I say huge, I'm a huge Allison Felix fan. I don't know if you guys know what it is, but Allison Felix is major. But the reason why I'm a Richardson fan is because, one, she did not get an opportunity to compete in the World Games a couple of years ago. The one thing about the Olympics is on the off year we have the World Games, and on the on year we have the Olympics. So she did get a chance to compete because they say, quote unquote, as they say, allegedly she was marijuana in her system, of which the state that she lives in, cool out Cali, is legal. But for the Olympics, it is not. It is considered dosing. So she wasn't able to compete. So she's cleaned up. She's got back, and the girl is ready to roll with them nails about 3 inches off of her hand.
I know. She's got a lot of flair, and of course, the tweeting and things on social media. She ran and was coming in either 4th or 6th place at one of the competitions that she ran, and so they're like, she's talking all this mess and she can't back it up, and I was like, what? So.
And then she opened up in the World Games and blew them off the track. But them Jamaicans is running hard. You know, you got to look at Dinah Asher. Dinah Asher is from Britain. She is putting them up and picking them up and putting them down too. But this U.S. team, US 18 that they got this year with the women, I don't see anything. I wish, you know, my favorite, I got three events that I love. The 100, which Richardson's going to win that. I have no doubt. I think it's going to go USA with Richardson. I think it's going to go to Jamaica, possibly Dinah Asher from Britain, maybe second, and then you're going to come in with Felix on the third spot. But I think it's going to go USA 1 and 3 or 1 and 2 in that position. Then I'm looking forward to watching the 200, and I think the 200 is going to be crazy, and that 4x4 relay is going to be insane. So I'm telling you right now, I know you can't get to Paris, but get your popcorn, get your drinks together, whether that be your bourbon, your vodka, your whatever it may be, your wine. Sit at the table, get your bowl together, because this is going to be an event.
I think what I kind of glean from a lot of things. There is a major, or not a major, well, there's a rivalry between the U.S. Track and field stars, women, as well as the women on the Jamaican side of things, the Jamaica
Yes.
ones. And so we had, and if I'm looking at this correctly, because now I'm looking at my notes, I want to make sure I got everyone's name. Shelly Ann Fraser Price. She's in her 30s. She's from Jamaica. She's a 16 world champion and 8 Olympic medalist. She's going to be competing this year, which is going to be interesting. And they call her in Jamaica the Queen of Sprinting.
Yep.
So she does not mess around. And of course, the same person that coached them both. This is Elaine Thompson Hera. She's from Jamaica, and I believe she is a 5-time Olympic gold medalist. And the person that has coached them both or guided them both is Stephen Francis. How proud would you be, Coach, knowing that you had coached or trained 2 Olympians like Thompson Hera and also Fraser Price?
Man, first of all, I would love it for the simple fact that they're doing now what I did for them, and that's giving back. They're now reaching back, and you got to think it's Jamaica, so it's not a lot. They don't play football; they play soccer, and then track and field is the next biggest thing. And just what Springer just said, when you're looking at these elite performers, especially the sprinters, 100, 200, especially 4x4 is a little different, but the 100, 200 especially. These athletes, Val, I don't know if a lot of people know or not. When they're going out and they're running at the Diamond League, which is over in France for the men, and some of the women do the same thing, and they're competing before the Olympics. In order to run into these events, Val, they have to have sponsorship, and they get all this media scrutiny, they get all the fierce competition, and if they don't make it, then you're out. So sometimes these athletes are actually there to do everything that they're doing. But Val, they're competing for brands, right? They're competing to wear they competing with this Adidas drip. They competing for Nike, possibly Under Armour, Procter & Gamble, whoever it may be, Toyota, Mercedes-Benz, because you cannot compete unless you have a sponsorship. And that's the key. It's kind of like, I don't know if you know this or not, but golf is the same way. You can play, but you see these guys that are competing every weekend. In order to play in those golf events, you have to have a sponsorship. And that's the only way you're going to get it, is to be the best of the best.
Yeah, and one of the people that and as I go a little bit and talk on the men's side of sprinting, I see I don't have my photos that I wanted to have up, but one of the main people that people were talking about during this documentary was, I believe, Noel Lyles.
Noel Lyles. If you ain't talking about Noel Lyles, you need to get up out of here, because you don't know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? This brother is the most exciting American that we've ever had running since who? Carl Lewis and Michael Johnson. And Michael Johnson. Don't forget about Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson. As a matter of fact, Noel Lyles, 2-time 200 meters champion, and the kid is a rock star. When he steps on the track, he says that the stage is here, so he's doing one of these numbers. Come on, give it to me, because I know I'm about to blow everybody out. Come on, I want to hear it early. And to see him pick him up and put him down last year to break Michael Johnson's record of 200 meters at 19.31, and the 200 was absolutely crazy, because Michael Johnson set that back in 1992 at the time we went to the Olympics with the Dream Team. So imagine him, and that record for the American has been standing since 1992 until Noah broke it.
Wow. Yeah. So Noah is going to be competing for and in the 2024 Olympics, according to Sprint. And it was good to see the relationship between him and his mom in the documentary. I don't know if
his wife, his wife is an Olympian too. So,
my gosh, what does she do? What does she do?
So she's a runner as well. And so, and his mom is an ex-runner. So
Ex
yeah,
runner. She ran in the 90s with
yeah,
us.
she ran in the 1992. So so don't come around here unless you run it. But the funny part about it is that the brother that I feel more, that I felt probably more, what's a good word, pain, or I could feel his pain, was Marcel Jacob, the young man from Italy. He was the
Oh
world leader
yeah.
in the 100, and Laos, the 100 is not his race. He'll tell you. He's a 4x4 and a 200 guy because of none other than who? Usain Bolt. So he was
Exactly.
chasing that record and he didn't get it. So then he decided, you know something? If I'm out here picking them up, putting them down, and killing everybody on this 200, why don't I try to pull a Usain Bolt and try to step in this 100 game and try not to get embarrassed? Well, Marcel Jacobs was the man. And then he
Mhm.
destroyed him at the Diamond League, which is the top circuit before they even get to the Olympics, which the Diamond League, Val, is actually held in Paris. So he went over to our Francais,
Oui, français.
right, and blew him out on his own turf. And Jacobs came fifth. Now, of course, he talked about a little bit that he had some foot problems and he didn't train well or whatever that was. But that brother Noah Lyles is chasing that brother right there in Hussein Bolt, baby.
Now Hussein Bolt, if I'm understanding, because he was being spoken to at this as well, which I was really excited to see. Anytime they would have someone, he has set the record in the 100 meters, and a lot of this was achieved back in 2009. And they said he dominated the sport for well over a decade. I'm trying to see how many
Yeah, and let me ask
world
you a question,
champions did he
Val.
win.
And I'm gonna ask you a question. He
Hmm.
dominated, and what was the the most unique thing about him coming out the block in every one of his races?
Um, I unfortunately I'm blanking out on that right now. So you're gonna have to tell me.
When Usain Bolt raced in the 200 or the 100, he never came out the blocks in first. He was either middle of the pack or close to the back. But because as tall as he is, I think he's 6'5", 6'6", his strides are so long. Those first, we were always taught, get in the blocks, head down. When that gun goes off, your first 10 steps, you count ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Once you get up to 10, pick him up, you running straight up. Once he got straight up, his strides were so long on that 9th or 10th step, he had already been almost even. Once he straightened up, he was out. That's why he called him the boat.
And like I said, he dominated the the league for such a long time, and he would do that pose. You see that pose that he's in right now.
That's
That
the boat,
became
baby.
very impressive with folks. And of course, I want to talk about this young man from Great Britain, and I want to make sure that I get his name correctly. You know who that is, bro?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this is Zarnell Hughes. He's from the UK.
That's the young guy
And
from Britain. Yes.
so he broke the record just in 2023, previously held by Linford Christie, and he is a 6-time world champion and 3-time Olympic medalist. What happened to him in 2020? A lot of things happened to these athletes in 2020. He started and had a false start.
Yep.
Explain that to me. What does it mean when you have a false start in track and field?
So what happens on that, Val, is that we would get in the blocks. You got your left foot, right foot in the blocks. Everybody's pretty much the same, or right foot, left foot, depending on their power. But the blocks are already set up, and you got what they call the starting line. You set at the starting line, you get down, which we would call a T stance, which is like that, where you're behind the line, and then the starter takes a gun and just say on your mark. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't say like in the backyard, man, you always say, mark, get ready to say go. We don't do that. Just on your mark. So everybody's up and their butt raises up to the same level, and then the gun goes off. Well, a false start is when the starter says, on your mark, and he raises the gun up, and then before he shoots the gun, one of the runners assumed that the gun's about to be shot and they jump out early. Well, they got technology that's so good that's on the laser on every single one of those runners' head. And if they come out the block early before anybody else, then he shoots the gun again, pow, pow. And that double shot means that was a false start. Now, that particular runner receives a penalty, meaning that if he false starts or she false starts the second time, they're disqualified.
Yeah, they were showing him being walked out, and that was very disappointing. I think it happened to him a couple of times in 2021 and again in 2022. But, and this was another thing that was aggravating to me. I didn't mention this earlier with Simone Biles. Weird criticism about, and this was Simone Biles, about her hair. And then with him, this is this gentleman Zarnell Hughes being and this was mentioned in the documentary, I want to say fake Brit, but a plastic Brit. That's what it was, a plastic Brit. And I was like, what is that?
I thought maybe they were just referring to him that he's biracial.
No, had nothing to do with that. It has with him. He is from, and I'm trying to bring it up right now. Oh, good gracious. Let me bring up his situation here. But he's from an island, Antigua. I think that's the name of the.
Antigua.
Okay, here we go. I'm looking at it right now. Here it is.
Antigua. Because a lot of the Africans go over tours from Antigua, actually go over to either London or go over to France and never go home. You'll be amazed how many brothers and sisters are over there.
Right. So they said when he won this competition, and ironically, he was competing against Usain Bolt, and this was in New York, 2015. And this was the headlines: 5 foreign-born athletes pledge allegiance to Britain, reigniting the plastic Brits row. And he's from Anguilla. I'm saying that wrong, which is a British colony. And he says he's been saying the British anthem since he was in school. And I think it's because people were calling him a plastic Brit because he's not white, or it has something to do with race. And to me, you're criticizing Simone Biles about her hair, and you're criticizing this young man because he's not directly from England or from directly UK. He's from an island, and you're like, oh, he's not really a Brit. He's a plastic Brit. No. He's running and he's representing Great Britain. But of course, he shut all of that down when he won in 2023 on the soil of London. He won on London. Now, the gentleman that you mentioned, Noel Lyle, he came in first, but he broke the record that was set by what is the gentleman's name? John Regis, and it was a 19.94 running in the 200 meter. This young man beat it and got it, and he beat that 19.73 during that race. And of course, it was great for him. And he came in second to Noel, but it doesn't matter. He won $5,000. And was able to beat that old record that was set from John Regis, and he beat that on UK soil. So hopefully he's throwing that whole plastic Brit thing out of the window, because I can't stand when people do stuff like that. But go ahead, Coach.
Last I checked, if you got a little drop of brother up in you, you're a brother. I'm just saying. He walk like a brother, talk like a brother, quack like a brother, must be a brother. That's all I'm saying.
Aflac. And
now go back to what you just said. Now think about that.
Okay.
This brother breaks this record on the 200 running 19.97. And Noah just crushed it in France running 19.3.
Woo!
I'm gonna holler at you. Right? I'm gonna holler at you. And I like the comeback that the young man did, for the simple fact that everything that had happened, right, the false starts and all that still could have plagued him. Because remember what Simone said the first day and the first week she got back to competition, she was sitting there saying, don't mess up, Try not to do, because you got 50
Exactly.
million things going through your head. And I'm sure he's in those blocks down like this, and he's saying, don't false start. Because if I false
Mhm.
start, pretty much my career is probably over. Now, what amazes me is how this goes back to what you and I have been talking all year long about NIL. And this
Right.
goes back in the point, I'm gonna circle back to what you just made. This goes and lets you know when it comes to college athletics, why football and basketball are kings. Football players, basketball players are making millions of dollars. Baseball is third because it's the next biggest sport. Then it's usually whatever the next best sport in the college is. Most of the time it's track and field. But these young men are competing at world games, and he took second place to pick up 5 stacks.
Yep. And
That's
being able to break a record in the UK, I say with them literally just 5 or 6 years earlier calling him a plastic Brit, hopefully all that gets squashed. And
oh, it
like I
definitely
said,
will.
the athletes competing at this level, just avoid social media. I'll just give you the warning right now. And if any folks are watching, or the friends and family of Biles, Noel, anybody that's why, tell them to stay off social media. Don't even look at it. Just compete. We're cheering for you, and then you just keep it moving. You just don't shut
Keep
out the
it
noise.
moving.
And
Keep it moving.
and then of course, just gentlemen. Now I didn't know. I did some research
That's what I
on. You
just talked
mentioned
about,
him.
Marcel Jacobs. Yeah, that brother from Italy. And again, I love it. He got his 2 sons and all that. But again, he's got foot problems. If you want it from me for promotional purposes only, and you need a long shot in this race, because no one's going to beat Noah Lyles, but the long shot to me is the brother from Jamaica, Fernando Amuwawa. Omanwaya. Him.
Okay.
That young brother Fernando from Jamaica, I think that with him, he's going to run a close second, because I think that Jacobs is going to come back in this race. He's going to
Mhm.
compete for Italy. He's the first African American to do that in running for his country of Italy, and he's Italian.
He's
Of course, we're the
Italian.
only
Yeah.
one that breaks it up, but he's an Italian. But
Mhm.
I don't think that the flamboyant of Noah, he's kind of like Hussein on steroids. When Hussein stepped up back in the day, he let you know off the rip. He gonna look at you and let you know you gonna get hit with that boat right there. If you ain't running fast enough, that boat right there gonna catch you. And he usually did. And then he walk off, the track like, man, I already know I'm gonna reach y'all, man. Y'all some suckers. And he talked to him
Mhm.
crazy. And Noah's at that level. And if you're watching the film, when he said about when they were going to breakfast one morning, he says, I walk into the cafeteria, not so much to sit down and eat. I walk in the cafeteria to see who's looking at me. Because whoever's looking at me, I know they already saying in their head, that's who I got to be. So I'm already one leg up. Because when I come to the breakfast, I'm looking at what kind of cereal they got here. So that's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
amazing.
and I see that Mark says half of the players from the foreign basketball teams, now we're switching to basketball, are NBA players, but they are proud to represent their country in the Olympics. That's
Oh, yeah.
interesting.
And the
Mhm.
cool part about it is what Mark said. Let me go to show you how important the U.S. Joel Embiid, who is from Africa, put his citizenship in this year because he's played in Philly for so long, and he's now playing for Team USA. So instead of going back to Africa to play, he's playing right here in the good old USA for the men's, USA basketball team, and with LeBron and Steph Curry and everyone right there. Man, they better step up and play a little bit better, because they've had 2 close calls the last couple of weeks. So they better take some notes from Noah Lyles and Simone Biles how to be champions.
Yeah, so I tell you what I'm going to be watching for the 2024 Olympics. I'll be checking out the basketball, but definitely the gymnastics, as well as a track and field. So guys, as I said earlier, go ahead and check out both docu-series,
Yep.
Simone Biles Rising as well as Sprint. There is about 4 or 5 episodes of of sprint available. But as I said, with Simone Biles, they're rising. There's only 2 episodes of that particular series. But like I said, this is what a great way to prepare for the upcoming 2024 Olympics, which gets kicked off this Friday, July 26th in Paris, France. And you'll go ahead and you'll be watching that on the NBC networks or streaming again, whatever you miss, on Peacock. What you got, Coach?
I got to ask you one question. I got to ask everyone before we close out. What's going to be the United States medal count? Ooh.
Oh, are we predicting that right now?
Yeah, let's give me some prediction. What's going to be the U.S. medal count?
Okay, well, let me see what the average medal count is for, because I don't want to count the 2020 Olympics. That feels like that's an Olympics with like an asterisk, because everybody
go back to 2016, go back 2016, 2012, doesn't matter. But I want to know if you guys, Mark, you guys watching tonight, put it there and let me know, what do you think the Olympic count is going to be? Gold, silver, and bronze. And for those, I bet I may use that to get on my show. That may be a good one right there.
Well, let's see. On average, the USA usually gets anywhere between.
Don't even tell. Don't tell. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you off the top of my head. I'm gonna say gold medals. I'm gonna put us around 32.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. Okay. I'm looking at swimming. I keep getting the U.S. Medals for swimming.
You probably got to put in USA total medal count.
Okay, total medal count. Let me do that. Yep. Average total medal count. Okay, let's see if they come up with something with that. I guess I'm typing. Now I'm getting something weird. I don't even know what that is. But here's this. I feel like I'm going to do it sport by sport, and the sports I'm going to be looking at. So I feel like with the track and field, we're going to get anywhere between 25 and 30 medals, and that's just in track and field. I believe we will get about. I know that we'll get gold or silver for I feel like we're going to get gold for the men's basketball team. It'll be great for the women to do that as well.
Oh, women going to definitely do
it. Yeah, I feel like the women will do that as well. And of course, with the gymnastics, I feel like we'll get anywhere between 25 and 35 medals for the women, for gymnastics, period, men and women.
Yeah, okay. So if I add them together, so I'm thinking, like I said, I was thinking more like 32. It's going to probably be track and field. So me and you about right there together. But I say, excuse me, total medal count. I'm going to say gold total medal count is going to be somewhere around 96, 98 on the gold, about 65 on silver, and about 34, 35 on bronze. 96.
All right. And check this out from the.
Oh yeah, man, like Mark just said. I forgot we got breakdancing as part of that now. We also got baseball and we got golf. I forgot about those three have been added. And Tiger Woods' son, I think, is now probably going to make that golf team. I'm almost positive.
All right. So what a great prediction for that. This is that's Mark. He says 40 gold medals, 40 silver, and 38 bronze.
Okay, I think you're a little low on the gold, but yeah, I like that, Mark.
So go ahead, guys, and check out those documentaries that's on Netflix, Simone Biles Rising and Sprint. You will get a great education like myself and Coach Tony did in watching both docu-series. And like I said, I'm just really excited for what is happening. We're wrapping up. And for the folks that has purchased the book, A DJ Saved My Life, we want to get your feedback. If you've gone ahead and you've read the book, or you've even started and you're like, wow, this is really good, we'd love your testimony. I've sent out an email to all of the folks that have purchased the book. And of course, I'm going to put something in there where you guys can respond back and let us know what you all think about the book, A DJ Saved My Life. We would love to get your comments and testimonies of what you thought of it. And then we'll be placing those things on the website, purelightHousemedia.net. So it'll be exciting for you guys to go ahead and check that out. So, and of course, we are excited. If you would love to get the book, it's available. All you have to do is scan the QR code or go to purelightHousemedia.net and get your own copy. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and Val, I forgot. I'm sorry.
Oh, and the last thing is Interludes Extra presents Find Your Voice. Join our community via Patreon today. The t-shirts are coming. The t-shirts and merch are coming, and they're going to get released on next week. And of course, I just got approval to make a t-shirt out of the wonderful cover that you see of A DJ Saved My Life. I'm going to have my cover and my mug sometime next week or the following week. So I'm excited. We going to get it going for another edition and wrapping up for Interludes Extra presents Talk on Tuesdays. What's coming up next week? More fun. And of course, the Olympics. I'll watch those opening ceremonies and giggle when I look at Snoop Dogg. Hopefully he does not have a blunt ready to light with the torch, so he could. I don't know. I feel like he's gonna like. I don't know.
I think he needs to. He can't be South Central unless he's walking and smoking that blunt. You know what I'm saying? Got to do that. Yeah, that's if he gonna be my man's, then we got to do that. You know. But
exactly. Thank you for the statistic. Do you see the statistic that Mark came up with in 2020? There was 39 gold, 41 silver, and 33 bronze total.
So that was pretty much what I said originally. That's pretty much what I said originally when I said 30 gold. But
China and Japan came in second place. What you got, Coach?
I forgot that we can't get off air. And thank you, Springer. Springer, I love you, because that should have been the top of the order. Congratulations to my girl, Ugo Bonwali from Dallas, MVP of the WNBA All-Star Game, and the WNBA Rookies, Val, crushed Team USA. Asia did her thing, but Caitlin Clark set another record in assists in an All-Star Game. Angel Reese set another record, double-double in an All-Star Game. And Bonwali she killed. She had 30 in the third quarter, I think, or the fourth quarter, which was ridiculous. But they won by like 6 or 8 points. So congratulations. And I'm telling you right now, I can't wait to the 28 Olympics to see these young girls play together. It's going to be crazy.
Oh my gosh. And we had a wonderful, wonderful episode breaking it down, kind of the media putting Reese as well as Clark against each other. It was an episode of the Pull Up Podcast Show. It's a podcast on our YouTube channel. Go ahead and check it out as Coach breaks down sports one quarter at a time every Monday at 8 p.m. And we got brand new episodes coming in September. Oh my goodness. That was another
break it down. Let it be broke.
Oh my gosh, this was such a great episode. And like I said, this research, man, this was a lot of research. But of course,
hey, I'm getting proud of you though, Val. You coming up on the sports game, girl. You doing. Hey, you guys got to give to Val. She's doing triple the work I'm doing on the research. So she hit me today. She's like, Coach, I did such and such, blah blah blah. Girl, I just finished that a minute ago.
Because everyone you mentioned with the track and field, I'm like, I know who that is. I know who that is. I was like totally happy about that. So it's going to be exciting to watch the Olympics and know who Noel Lyles is and cheer and see Sha'Carri Richardson. It's going to be fun to be able to look at them and know a little bit of their story based on the documentaries that we watch. But we will see you guys on next week. Join us again, but you know how we do it. Both me and Coach, we say peace.